Hi. Welcome to BR Film Recaps. Today we will show you a biographical drama film called A Beautiful Mind. But before we start, can we ask a little favor for you? Please like and subscribe to us to show a little support and to keep us motivated in creating more videos for you. Thanks. In 1947, John Nash begins graduate school at Princeton after receiving a prestigious scholarship for his mathematical genius. He's frustrated that he's been assigned a roommate, literature student Charles Herman, despite having requested a private dorm. But the friendly and gregarious Charles grows on him over time. This pays off when Charles persuades John to take a break from his obsessive attempts to create a new form of economic theory and go to the local bar with some other students, where applying accepted economic theories to strategy and picking up girls leads him to realize there's a better way and eventually creates a groundbreaking new game theory. John's theory lands him a teaching position at MIT, where he is particularly impressed by his student Alicia Lard, who uses lateral thinking to solve the problem of noisy construction outside the classroom. She eventually asks him out, and John runs into Charles again, who is now raising his niece Marcy following the death of her parents. With Charles' encouragement, John proposes to Alicia, who accepts happily, but he remains dissatisfied with his job and wonders if he is making a difference in the world. This problem is quickly solved when he is approached by William Parcher from the Department of Defense, who requests his assistance in breaking Soviet codes in order to prevent an impending bomb attack. The mission becomes more dangerous for John as he searches for codes in newspapers and magazines, until Parcher forces him into a car chase with Soviet agents and blackmails him into continuing to deliver his reports. Finally, while delivering a speech, he suspects that more Soviets have tracked him down and flees, only to be apprehended and tranquilized. John awakens in an unusual room, where an elderly man introduces himself as Dr. Rosen. He also notices a humiliated Charles in the corner and accuses him furiously of betraying him to the Soviets, only for Rosen to deny that anyone else is in the room. Alicia called Rosen because she was concerned about John's increasingly strange behavior, and Rosen diagnoses him with schizophrenia, with Charles, Marcy, and Parcher all being figments of his diseased mind. John initially refuses to believe it, but when Alicia discovers that all of his reports are still unopened at the drop spot, he agrees to begin treatment with electroshock therapy. John continues to take medication, but he quickly becomes dissatisfied with how the pills cloud his mind and make it impossible for him to work or even have sex. He stops taking them and soon starts seeing Soviet codes again. He is even approached by Parcher, who claims Rosen is a Soviet agent attempting to prevent him from finding the bomb. Charles and Marcy also make an appearance, and Alicia eventually discovers his pill stash and discovers he's left their baby alone in the bathtub, to which he claims Charles was watching him. Alicia begins to dial Rosen's number, urging Parcher to arrive and place a gun to her head. When John moves to save her, he violently knocks her and the baby to the ground, causing her to flee to their car and begin to leave for good. However, John takes another good look at what's going on and stops Alicia from leaving by declaring that Marcy has never aged in the years he's known her, and thus she and the others are all in his head. Despite accepting the truth about his schizophrenia, John refuses to return to his meds and embarks on the long, difficult process of overcoming his illness through sheer force of will, bidding an emotional farewell to Charles, Marcy, and Parcher. After 2 decades of ridicule and difficulty thinking clearly, he finally recovers enough to be allowed to teach again. In 1994, he receives the Nobel Prize in Economics and dedicates it to Alicia in his acceptance speech, saying, "I'm only here because of you." Before returning home with Alicia and their son, he takes one last look at the 3 imaginary figures, who remain in his vision despite his refusal to acknowledge them. A Beautiful Mind was inspired by the true life story of John Nash. This movie teaches us that, once you set your mind on your goal, put your heart and soul into it. Do not limit your options or let your ego come in way of opportunities.